Hi, and welcome to A Day in the Garden with me, Christina Linder. Today I thought I would talk a little bit about some really cool plants, carnivorous plants. These are actually plants that eat bugs, and they get their nutrition from insects that they catch. And I feel like we should all take a moment and be very thankful that these plants are small and they don't eat people, because they're pretty cool. So first we have here a Venus flytrap. And this cool plant, it has two moving parts, so they stay open. Each half of the mouth has three little tiny hairs in them, and when a big enough insect gets in that they can trigger those three hairs on each side, then it closes up and actually captures its prey. So we're going to try here to close one of these mouths just to show you. Now I want to add that this is not the ideal thing to do. You don't really want to force them to close, because you can see how there it goes shut, because it takes a lot of energy for the plant to open and close that mouth all the time, and you don't want to be wasting their energy if they're not going to get a meal out of it. They're very interesting, and they can get quite large. Next we have a sundew plant, and these are spectacular in a different way, because they have these little sticky things on them that captures smaller bugs by just gluing them down, and that way they can eat them. These are called sundews. Very interesting. They do get long stems with flowers on them, but it's not a kind of flower that you would maybe put in a vase or anything. They're quite not pretty. We also have another funky thing here, and this is a pitcher plant, and this is actually a trailing, climbing in the jungle. I guess it lives up in the trees, and it captures its prey in these little cups. They actually produce digestive fluid in here, and insects can get in, but they have a really hard time getting back out again, because the inside of that throat is covered with tiny little hairs, so the bug can't climb back out, but it can certainly walk right in. Very interesting. And here is another pitcher plant. This is called the Sarracenia, and there's lots of different varieties of Sarracenas. And here you can really see the little hairs on the inside of the throat. These also produce digestive fluid inside the throat, and that's how they gobble up the plants. This other one here is also a type of Sarracenia. This little guy has not had enough light, and he's been sitting underneath another plant, and that's why he's looking so weird and wonky right now. These are in some cases native to North America, and all of these different plants prefer a boggy kind of environment. So this planter has been done up not with soil but with sphagnum moss. You want to make sure you keep it moist at all times. These are bog plants after all, but they prefer it if you don't use tap water, because they don't like the chlorine that might be in tap water. So use rainwater or distilled water or something like that. You'll also notice that this container is made out of glass, so you want to be sure that you don't use a container that will leach anything. They're very sensitive to that. You also don't need to fertilize them. They don't have very high nutritional requirements, and they get all the food that they need from the bugs they catch. So I hope this has inspired you to learn more about carnivorous plants, and maybe do up your own planter as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and follow, and we'll see you next time. Happy gardening. Bye.